the Scurv podcast. Welcome, everyone. This is your host, LanceScurvX of LanceScurvX.com. Make sure to hit that site. You won't regret it. Anyway, the question of the day is, who is stealing your focus every day? How to protect your mind from toxic people and mental distractions. Many of you know way back when I was a teenager into my early 20s, I was a competitive bodybuilder, steroid-free. I stopped at 22 because I didn't like the landscape of what I saw. Very dysfunctional and very toxic, but I approached it in a very clean way. And in doing so and having success in it, I had supreme focus, and you had to, especially when you're taking charge and changing the very limbs of your body, your entire body, naturally. So I had to study diet. I had to study nutrition. I had to put these things into practice and get supreme rest. And at those young years, a lot of temptation out there. Not drugs or crime, but even the young ladies, okay? So I had to be focused in what I did. And I became a master of identifying the entities around me that were trying to distract me, simply because they had nothing to do of their own and they wanted to bring you down. Most people waste their best years of their lives being influenced by people who have no business influencing anybody. There are people like that. That's the painful truth nobody wants to admit. Too many people are taking life advice from people who cannot even manage their own emotions, their own finances, their own habits, or their own direction. Let me tell you something. It's funny how everybody becomes an expert when you begin to embark on something and they start telling you what to do and what not to do. Yet somehow these same people always have something to say about your dreams, your plans, your future, and your decisions. The problem is that foolish people rarely look foolish in the beginning. They often sound confident. They sound concerned. They sound experienced. And if you're not paying attention, you will hand them access to your mind before you even realize what happened. You got to be very careful. Some of the most dangerous people in your life are not enemies standing across from you. They are standing right beside you, smiling in your face. They disguise themselves as support systems while quietly poisoning your confidence. They disguise themselves as caring family members while constantly reminding you of failure. They disguise themselves as friends while competing with you in silence. These people do not always attack directly, because direct attacks are easy to spot. Instead, they slowly chip away at your clarity, one conversation at a time, until you begin questioning yourself more than you trust yourself and your instincts. Most people never learn pattern recognition. They stay trapped, judging personalities instead of studying behavior. That is why they continue repeating the same painful cycles with different faces. One person drains them emotionally, they escape, then run directly into another person with the same exact mindset wearing a different mask. The names change, but the patterns stay the same. That happens because emotions blind people while observation reveals truth. The moment you stop taking behavior personally and start studying it carefully, your entire life begins to change. Watch how certain people react to your success. That alone will expose more truth than years of conversation. Healthy people can celebrate your growth without feeling threatened by it. Broken people cannot. The moment you rise, their energy changes. Suddenly, they have concerns. Suddenly, they see risks. Suddenly, they start reminding you why your plans may fail. They call it realism, but in reality, it is fear speaking through them. They are uncomfortable watching somebody break limits they secretly accepted for themselves long ago. Your nervous system notices these people before your conscious mind does. That tight feeling in your chest before answering their call is not random. That exhaustion you feel after simple conversations with certain people is not your imagination. Your body is sounding alarms that your mind has been trained to ignore. Society taught many people to be polite at all costs. Society taught people to tolerate disrespect to avoid looking rude. Society trained people to ignore their instincts and keep giving endless chances to individuals who repeatedly bring confusion, stress, and emotional chaos into their lives. The dangerous people in life rarely arrive loudly. They enter quietly through repeated access. They study your reactions. They learn your emotional triggers. They discover where your guilt lives. Then consciously or unconsciously, they begin using those weaknesses to maintain control over your attention and energy. This is why so many intelligent people remain stuck for years. It is not always because they lack talent. It is because their mental environment is polluted daily by people who constantly interrupt their clarity. There is a war happening right now for your focus. Most people do not even realize they are in the middle of it. Every distraction, every unnecessary argument, every draining conversation, every guilt-filled interaction is stealing mental bandwidth from the goals that actually matter. Your attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess. Once your attention becomes scattered, your future becomes scattered with it. Some people are professional crisis creators. Remember that, I'm going to say it again. Some people are professional crisis creators. Their lives are always burning down. Every day, there is another emergency, another drama, another emotional explosion demanding immediate attention. They pull everybody around them into chaos because chaos is the only emotional state they understand. Check it. Others are doubt installers. They never openly attack your dreams. They simply ask enough negative questions to make you second-guess yourself. Then there are circular talkers. These people bring the same problems to you over and over while ignoring every solution. Their goal is not growth. Their goal is emotional dumping. What makes all of this so dangerous is that many people are conditioned from childhood to respond automatically whenever somebody demands access to them emotionally. They were praised for sacrificing themselves, praised for tolerating disrespect, praised for always being available. That conditioning becomes a prison in adulthood because it teaches people to prioritize everyone else's comfort above their own peace. The truth is simple. Every yes to unnecessary noise is a no to your own growth. Every minute spent carrying somebody else's confusion is a minute stolen from building your own future. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not always more talented. Many times they are simply more protective of their focus. They understand that mental clarity is sacred. Most people do not know how to leave unhealthy situations because society glorifies endurance more than wisdom. People are taught to stay loyal even when loyalty is destroying them. They remain inside draining friendships, toxic relationships, dysfunctional workplaces, and exhausting family dynamics, hoping things will magically improve. Meanwhile, years disappear from their lives while they wait for people to become who they should have already been. A clean exit is a skill. It's not about hatred. It's not about revenge. It's about self-respect. Many people stay too long because they believe they need dramatic proof before protecting themselves. They wait for betrayal. They wait for a massive argument. They wait for an explosion. But the truth is that repeated depletion is already enough evidence. If somebody consistently drains your peace, weakens your confidence, distracts your mind, or disrupts your momentum, that pattern alone is speaking loudly. The smartest exits are usually quiet. Not every departure requires an announcement. Not every boundary needs a speech. Many people waste energy trying to make low awareness individuals understand the pain they caused. That conversation often leads nowhere because people lacking self-awareness rarely provide meaningful closure. Instead of endless emotional confrontations, strong people quietly reduce access. They stop oversharing. They become less available. They redirect energy toward healthier environments without drama or performance. If you have to put up a high wall, put up the high wall. Whatever it takes to block out the negative, low vibrational energies of these people, then do it. It's a must. Invisible boundaries are often the strongest boundaries. You do not owe unlimited access to anybody simply because they know you. Too many people volunteer personal details, explain every decision, and seek validation from individuals who have not earned the right to influence their choices. Information is power. Oversharing with the wrong people gives them emotional leverage over your life. One of the greatest skills you can develop is emotional non-reaction. Difficult people survive through emotional manipulation. They provoke reactions, then use those reactions to control the situation. The moment you stop reacting impulsively, their control weakens. Calmness becomes protection. Silence becomes strength. Deliberate responses become weapons against manipulation. Never forget that. Most people are operating from programming installed by unhealthy individuals years ago. That automatic apology, that urge to over-explain, that fear of disappointing people, those are not personality traits. Those are conditioned survival responses. The good news is that conditioning can be rewritten. The moment you begin pausing before reacting, you interrupt old patterns. You stop functioning like a machine controlled by emotional triggers. You must also understand that your inner circle is shaping your future, whether you admit it or not. Human beings absorb energy, beliefs, attitudes, habits, and emotional patterns from the people closest to them. If your environment is filled with negativity, excuses, fear, gossip, and emotional instability, eventually those things begin affecting your thinking too. Your circle is either feeding your growth or feeding your stagnation. Stop holding on to relationships only because of history. History alone is not enough. Some people knew you when you were smaller mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. As you grow, certain connections naturally become misaligned. That is not cruelty, that is reality. Loyalty to dysfunction will keep you trapped in places your future no longer belongs. You must start asking serious questions about the people around you. Who leaves you energized after conversations? Who leaves you mentally exhausted? Who expands your thinking? Who constantly shrinks your possibilities? Who is building something meaningful with their life? Who only survives by feeding off the energy of others? Those questions matter because the people with the most access to your mind are influencing the direction of your life every single day, whether you know it or not. The greatest protection you can develop is clarity. Once you clearly recognize destructive patterns, you stop making excuses for them. You stop romanticizing dysfunction. You stop confusing guilt with love. You stop allowing emotional manipulators to rewrite your reality. Clarity gives you the power to move differently. You do not need permission to protect your peace. You do not need approval to guard your focus. You do not need validation for choosing environments that support your growth instead of suffocating it. The strongest people are not always the loudest people. Many times they are simply the people who finally learn what deserves access to them and what does not. Every boundary you build creates room for something healthier to enter your life. Every unhealthy attachment you release creates more mental energy for creativity, discipline, peace, and purpose. Many people do not realize how heavy certain relationships are until they finally step away from them and breathe clearly again for the first time in years. It's a wonderful feeling. The future belongs to people who protect their minds. In a world full of distractions, emotional chaos, manipulation, and constant noise, focus has become a superpower. The ability to think clearly, move deliberately, and protect your mental environment is now one of the rarest strengths a person can possess. At some point, you must stop trying to save everybody and finally save yourself, not from a place of selfishness, but from a place of wisdom. You cannot build a powerful future while constantly carrying people determined to remain mentally stuck. Your life has value. Your peace has value. Your focus has value. Protect all three with everything you have. Thank you so much for spending your precious time here with me. I would love to hear your perspectives, your feedback, your comments. It's always a pleasure for you to come by, and I love you all, regardless. Anyway, on to the next one. LanceScurv out. Peace.